Tonight, the investigation into the Nolan Wells death bombshell. Joining us tonight, Nolan's friends' lawyers fight back. Who's telling the truth? They think they know, but do they? I'm Nancy Grace. This is Crime Stories. I want to thank you for being with us. There's a big honking mark, subcutaneous, deep reddening tissue on his occipital. If I hit somebody in the back of the head, it'd be right there.
There was no indication that there was any kind of contusions on the hand, the arm, no kind of defensive event.
Back to Officer Tatum, star of The Officer Tatum on YouTube. Have the friends taken polygraphs?
Well, from my understanding, all but I believe one took a polygraph, and from what was told to me that they all passed. And all of the ones that took a polygraph took one without a lawyer. And they cooperated with law enforcement. So from my understanding, everybody took a polygraph test.
Why do you say that's from what you understand? Did they tell you they took a poly and passed?
Yes, ma'am. They told me that they did it. I wasn't there. So that's what I'm saying from my understanding. They told me that all the boys except one, which is Warren, I believe, took a polygraph test. All of them did not have lawyers and did it and cooperated with police. Warren also cooperated with police. I just believe he didn't take a lie detector test, but Warren is the young man that I interviewed. So according to what they told me, they all took a lie detector test and passed. And it's an equivalent of a lie detector test. It's not a traditional lie detector test, but it's the same theology of trying to get to if a person is lying. I don't know the name of it. It's an equivalent of a lie detector test. It's a different methodology. I don't believe it was a polygraph test. I believe they took other stressors in order to analyze if the people were telling the truth or not. So then the answer to
did they take a polygraph would be no. That is Officer Tatum from The Officer Tatum on YouTube. Joining us tonight are two very special guests. They are convinced of the friends, and when I say quoties, I don't mean they are or they're not friends, because I don't know. The young men on the Triton boat that took Nolan Wells to Horn Island. Many argue he was on the boat on the return when foul play occurred. Many argue he was not. In fact, the timeline has blown up because there are reports that Nolan Wells was seen on the island after the friend's boat left, which would exonerate them. Is that true? I don't know, and I'm trying to find out. For me, nobody's guilty and everybody's a suspect because we don't know the truth yet, but we will. Joining us tonight, Tyler Cox, the lawyer for several of the young men with the law firm Taylor and Cox, him being the Cox. Also with us, another veteran trial lawyer, Edward Pulsick, attorney for the boys as well. Actually, they're not boys. They're adults in the eyes of the law due to their age. Gentlemen, thank you for being with us tonight. My first question to clear up this matter, have your clients taken polygraphs? First to you, Tyler Cox.
Nancy, my clients have not taken a polygraph test, and I can tell you why. Because any lawyer worth their salt is going to tell their clients not to take a polygraph test under any circumstances. Two of my clients went in and made statements with me. We're not going to not going to do a polygraph test because, one, as you know, they're not admissible in court. And so it wasn't going to be admissible anyway. You should never, ever, if you're a lawyer, allow your clients to take a polygraph test. Now, we allowed investigators from the jump to have access to their phones, their Life 360, everything. We have cooperated implicitly every step of the way But no, they didn't take polygraph tests. But what I'll tell you is one of the other boys, who I won't mention their name, but I'm sure that you've heard, took one. The girl that Nolan was with took a stress analysis voice test, and so did the other boy. So that's the test they took. Both of them passed. And so, again, no lawyer worth of salt is going to tell his clients to take a polygraph test or anything like that.
I would like to corroborate part of what Tyler Cox just said. Any defense attorney, whether they're convinced, truly convinced their client is innocent or guilty, they're not going to allow a poly. I've never seen that. I've had a couple of lawyers, maybe 3, in all the years I practiced, all the people I put behind bars, consent before trial to a poly. 3. And they were all criminal cases that carried severe penalties. So what he's saying is true. Even if you think your client is innocent, very rarely will you see a defense lawyer say, sure, take a poly. However, I disagree with you regarding their admittance into court. Polygraphs are allowed in civil trials. O.J. Simpson, he flunked horribly. And if both sides stipulate to the polygraph's admittance before the polygraph is taken, it can come into a criminal trial. The reality is that never happens. That never happens.
Right. At the time that we first cooperated with police, the first very week, the days after, just 1 to 2 days after the disappearance of Nolan Wells, we're not thinking about a civil suit. We're not thinking about that. We're thinking about how can we provide as much information to authorities so that they can find Nolan Wells. And it was not until after we spoke to officers and investigators that Nolan, unfortunately, his body was found on Horn Island, washed up. And it's unfortunate. And I hate that for Nolan, because by all accounts, he was an incredible person. He was just truly remarkable in almost every sense of the word. But I mean, we're not thinking about a civil suit at that point in time. We're trying to help authorities find our friend, who we can't find either.
Edward Polczyk joining us in addition to Tyler Cox, both of them veteran trial lawyers. He is with Taylor Dykema. Edward, how did you get involved in this case?
Well, I'd rather not talk about that. I can just tell you this. I can tell you that it was through a friend of a friend.
You're kidding, right? You're kidding me. Because when you tell me I'd rather not answer,
Well, I want to
That's
protect
just
the names. I wanna protect
igniting
the
me
na-
to find out how
Well,
you got
hold on.
involved in the
Well,
case.
Well, hold on. I can tell you a little bit more. I can tell you this. I can tell you a close friend who knows the Ocean Springs, Mississippi community very, very well, is from the area, connected me to a friend of his. And then I found myself speaking to Tyler here. And Tyler and I instantly became very close friends. We both have blue pickup trucks, so now we're the Blues Brothers. We just became very close. We hit it off. Then I had the opportunity to speak to Warren, speak to Morgan, speak to Jax, and we hit it off also. And I immediately realized these are incredibly fine young men. I realized
Okay,
right
hold
away
on.
I wanted to help them out.
Ed, to you and Tyler, I'm not saying they have lied, and I'm not saying they haven't lied. I don't know. I have no reason to disbelieve your clients or to believe them. But you do know that people can look you right in the face and lie through your teeth, and you believe them. I've done it. I've had witnesses that I found out were lying to me, and it was a huge blow. I've had police officers. I worked a child trafficking case. My first child trafficking case. Worked it. I finally found the little girl. I went into a room full of sex workers. They went, she's in there. I'm like, there's no child in there. They went, she's the one in the white boots. She looked like she was 38 years old. She's 14. That said, we won the case. But fast forward about 10 months later, I was walking through the grand jury room and I saw these horrible federal court sketches. I'm like, oh my stars, is that who I think it is? It was my vice cops. They had been stealing from dopers and they got indicted by the feds. And I had been out on the street with them every day for months trying to prove a child trafficking case. So, just because somebody tells you the sky is blue does not mean the sky is blue. You do know that, right?
Well, I can tell you this: they were off Horn Island at 4:30 p.m. on July 4th, and Nolan Wells was seen alive.
Now we're getting somewhere. How can you prove that to me other than them telling you? I assume you've got GPS tracking and the call to see tape.
We have witnesses among other things, but I can also tell you this: they were off the island at 4:30 p.m. and Nolan Wells was seen alive by multiple people at 6 p.m. still on the island. And I'm sure Tyler would be happy to elaborate on that. But this is a no doubt 100%.
Please tell me, Tyler.
Yes.
Because
Yes.
I don't believe any of these people, and I don't disbelieve any of these people. I want to hear about witnesses that spotted him alive after 4:30, because I believe I can confirm the boat left around 4:30. And I'm referring to the Triton. That's the boat they were on. There are a lot of boats. Let's see the video of all the boats out there. So when I say Triton, I'm talking about the boat Nolan was on the way to the island. There's a lot of boats out there and a lot of witnesses too. This is from the Officer Tatum. Okay. There are witnesses placing him there at 6. And I want to be very clear, gentlemen, that I'm not convinced he drowned just because somebody said so. Even if he did drown, that does not mean that there wasn't foul play. Why is that mark on the back of his head? Was he hit on the head and fell in the water? Was he held under the water? Was it an accident? I don't know. But I am very interested in witnesses that place him alive at 6 p.m. Please tell me, Tyler Cox.
So, Nancy, look, we have had multiple witnesses reach out to us, 2 confirmed witnesses that saw Nolan Wells on the island around 6 p.m. on July 4th, well after the Triton, as you said, left around 4:30. And so those witnesses have went to investigators, they've talked to the police, and they've done what they're supposed to do. We've cooperated 100%. So has
Where did they
those
see
witnesses.
him, Tyler Cox? Where did the witnesses see them? Do they know him well enough to make a positive ID? Hey, speaking of a positive ID, control room, please pull up a photo that we showed a couple of days ago. There are 2 or 3 women, white females, walking along the beach, as I recall, each clad in a bikini. There is one, I believe, a white male and one black male walking with them. That, can you zoom in a little bit? That's not really helping me that much. For instance, did your witnesses know Nolan? Can they identify him? Because I'm looking right at this and I cannot identify if the male behind the female on the white, the female wearing a white hat, I can't tell if that's Nolan or not. It's a very blurry photo. I can't make it out. So, do your witnesses know him? I mean, let me see my guess, please. Mr. Polczyk, Mr. Cox, I know the 2 of you. I don't see both of them. There they are. The 2 of you have tried a lot of cases, as have I. To get in or attack an eyewitness, and it's in the code, the official code of Mississippi annotated. There are prescribed methods under which you cross-examine an eyewitness. For instance, does the witness know the target? Was the lighting sufficient? How far away was the witness? What were the conditions of the eyewitness identification? Was the eyewitness inebriated or high or otherwise incapacitated? How far away were they? Do they wear glasses? It goes on and on and on. It's laid out in the code. Tell me about these witnesses. How do they know it was Nolan? Hey, control room, show me that picture of Nolan on the boat. He's bent over All I can see are his legs and his behind. The only reason I think that's Nolan is because it matches his swimsuit. Did they see that? How can they identify Nolan? First to you, Tyler.
Well, I'm not sure if the witnesses saw that picture that you just put on screen, but I can confirm to you that these witnesses know Nolan. They've known him for a long time. They were able to make a positive ID, and they told that to investigators. They told them that from the very start.
Had they been drinking?
That I do not know.
How are they sure it was 6 o'clock? Look, I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm asking the questions I would ask in court. How do they know it was 6 o'clock? Did they go, oh, there's Nolan Wells at 6 p.m.?
Well, I'm pretty sure, Nancy, they were aware of the time. I'm not sure if they were drinking or not, but they're the ones that came forward to police and investigators, and that's their story to tell. What I'm telling you is they made a positive ID on Nolan Wells around 6 o'clock, and they told that to investigators, all while our clients were off the island around 4:30. So we have positive identification on Nolan on the island an hour and a half after our clients left. So, as you know from your experience as a prosecutor, they can't do two things at once. They can't be on the island at 6 o'clock and be on the boat gone off the island at 4:30. So, that's where we are. Our clients have nothing to do with the death of Nolan Wells. We don't know how he died. We want to know. Please tell us. Somebody. We want to know just as much as anyone else. Our clients loved Nolan Wells. They were brothers to Nolan Wells. I've still yet to hear one bad thing about Nolan Wells. He was a good Ocean Springs kid. Just as Chuck Bordy says all the time in the courtroom, these are good Ocean Springs people. So Nolan was a good Ocean Springs person too. They love Nolan. We want to know. Will someone
Okay, just
please
stop right there,
tell us?
Tyler. Tyler, I've got 1 hour, and nobody's running for miscongeniality. Let's just let it be noted, judicial notice. They were all good. Everybody's good, okay? Tyler,
Yes.
the witnesses that came forward, here's something that would tend to corroborate them is if multiple witnesses said the same thing. Witnesses separated in time and space, witnesses that are not all friends, witnesses that are not good friends with your clients, that may have a reason to be fuzzy on the time. I'm not saying they are or that they're not. Here's my question to you. Are these witnesses friends of your clients?
I don't think they're friends, and they're not even the same age.
Okay. Next question. How many witnesses place him there on the island at 6-ish?
At least two that I know.
2. Do the witnesses know each other?
Yes.
Were they together that day?
Yes.
Have they had a chance to discuss their recollections with each other before they came to police?
Well, I'm sure they did. Nancy, look, they did what they were supposed to do, and they spoke to police officers. And you know as well as I do that if investigators or a DA's office had any sort of probable cause to make an arrest in a case like this, they would. They would have.
Or they may be gathering evidence to make sure they've got all the evidence that there is. I mean, I would wait until I had all the evidence, including a completed autopsy. You know what? I'm going to jump ahead. But regarding the body, regarding Nolan's body, we've heard all sorts of inflammatory things. But the one thing that, well, many things are very interesting and probative. For instance, why was Nolan's neck of so much interest to the original medical examiner that it was removed? His foot wasn't removed. His toe wasn't removed. His ear wasn't removed. Why his neck? The lungs and the neck were removed, which obviously Edward Pulsick touches on COD, cause of death. I understand why the medical examiner took his lungs. He had to run tests on them to determine, did he drown? Of course, all three of us know you can drown and there still be foul play. Somebody whacked you on the head. If somebody held you underwater, it could be any number of things. Or it could be an innocent drowning. But why the throat? What was curious about the throat, Ed? Were there marks on the throat? Was there a ligature mark? Was there manual strangulation? Was there a compression? Were there bruises? Were there scratches? I don't know. Was a hyoid missing? I could go on, but I won't. Do either of you know what was of interest to the medical examiner in the removal of Nolan's throat?
I'll tell you this. Listen, we're not coroners. We're not medical examiners. We want to know what happened to him just as much as everyone else. Quite frankly, more. Because Nolan was their best friend. Warren, Morgan, Jax. Nolan was their best friend. We want to know what happened. But we haven't examined Nolan's body. We're not scientists.
I just thought maybe you had been somehow told why they took his throat. Okay, that's a note. We don't know why they took his throat.
Yeah, we don't want to speculate.
Let me start with an open-ended question to you, gentlemen. I started with, why haven't they taken a polygraph? I want to hear what your clients are saying happened that day, because my interest is piqued because you stated a young lady, and I assume this is Katie, the mysterious Katie, who turns out not to be that mysterious at all. Much was made of that. Now, one thing about Katie, originally, one or some of your clients said he was with some girl, we don't know her. Then it turned out they had been texting with her, so they did know her. There may be an innocent explanation for that or not. So, explain to me, who are they talking about when they said he was with a girl, we don't know her? He had never met her before, but yet they were texting with Katie, the girl he had been with. I'll throw that to you, Tyler. Do you know the answer to that?
Sure. So they didn't know Katie, and they believe that Nolan didn't know Katie before that day. But you have to remember, once they started getting suspicious that Nolan wasn't with them anymore, they start asking themselves, okay, well, where's Nolan? They start texting everyone that they knew. Hey, have you seen Nolan? Do you know where Nolan is? Did he make it back home? All before they called Christine Wells that night, they start asking everybody. And so eventually they end up getting, through mutual friends, whoever, Katie's number. And so, and I believe it was maybe either Snapchat or text message. They got in communication with Katie. And Katie says, I don't know. We thought he was leaving with y'all. Well, I don't believe that's the case, obviously, because he did not leave with our boys. We don't know what happened to him, but that's Katie's statement. That's how they got a hold of Katie's numbers, because they're frantically trying to find out what happened to Nolan.
What's your take on it, Ed? Because I think he's saying they did know Katie. I couldn't tell if he said did or didn't. Did he say they all did know Katie?
No, they did not.
They didn't know Katie. All right. And they determined who she was. Okay.
Right.
Hey, hold on. Tyler, you stated your clients, began to get suspicious. Where is Nolan? When did they get suspicious?
It was later that night. I believe it was around 9 or 10 o'clock, maybe even 11, that they start saying, oh, well, has anyone seen Nolan? Where's Nolan? Did he make it back home? Did anybody know? They start calling around, texting, asking everybody. And once they determined that no one had the answer about where Nolan was, that's when they called Christine Wells. And then they stay on the phone. My client stayed on the phone with Christine Wells for about 5 or 6 minutes. And then he tells her, look, I'm going to call the Coast Guard just to make sure. And he did. He stays on the phone with the Coast Guard for 21 minutes.
Okay. Ed Pulsick, also veteran trial lawyer. Ed, do you concur with that explanation of why they first said, I don't know her, we don't know her, he didn't know her, and then we find out that they had actually been texting with Katie? What's your understanding of that? Again, I had my favorite trial judge, Luther Alverson, would tell every jury, it is your duty to make all witnesses speak the truth. What does that mean? To reconcile the different seemingly conflicting stories to make everyone be telling the truth and impugn perjury on no one. So maybe there's an explanation for this. Why do they say, we don't know her, and then they're texting her? So they did know her.
That characterization, they didn't say that. There's no contradiction. I can just tell you this. They didn't know her. Nolan was with her much of the day. And he was still on the island when they left. He apparently spent much of the day with this young lady. That seems to be what happened. But no, there was this young lady was not part of their friend group. That's right.
Okay, so when they say they didn't know her, but yet they were texting her, they did know her name.
Well, I don't know if I agree with that characterization. Yeah, the
Well,
premise,
enlighten me. I want to
is
know.
flawed. Yeah, the premise is flawed. She's not part of their friend group. They don't know her. I can tell you that it does appear, once again, it appears that Nolan was with this young lady for much of the day. That does seem to be confirmed by many witnesses. And I can tell you this, Nancy, one thing about this island, I did have the opportunity to go to Horn Island. And when you go to the island, everything starts to make sense. The first picture was maybe not so accurate. If you go to the part of Horn Island where, these events all occurred, you see that there are really no trees on that part of the island. It's flat, it's open, there are no visual obstructions, so there's no trees, there's no shelter, there's no nothing, and it was broad daylight with thousands of people there. Meaning there was no opportunity for foul play during daylight hours. And that's where this whole thing starts to unravel.
Ed,
you have to go to the island.
Please,
you have to go
there's
to the
opportunity for foul play. He could have been walked
Not
on
in
the
this
head on a
environment.
boat and pushed over.
I'm telling you, not in this
It doesn't have to
environment.
be
I
on the
was there.
beach. It could be
telling you.
anywhere.
You got to understand, it's a 10-mile long barrier island, but it's only a few hundred yards wide in most places. There's nowhere to hide.
Let me see the video and show it to Ed and Tyler. The video of all those boats. Anything could have happened between those boats. Anything.
Well, but
Even
but
an
Nancy,
accident could happen between those boats. And
but
so
Nancy-
many people are drunk. I don't think they're paying attention.
But here's the thing. Here's the thing, right? We could always say anything is possible. An asteroid could strike right now. But I am telling you that there are a lot of people who have talked about this case and have said things that are not true, and they haven't been to the island. They've got to go to the island. If you don't go to the island, you can't speak with authority about the case. And I won't name names, but a lot of people who have hurt these fine young men and have defamed them, they've never visited the island, and I'm willing to bet that they've never visited the islands. Look at it right there. That shot you have right there. Broad daylight with thousands of people there. The picture speaks for itself.
I agree with what you're saying. I agree that it would be nearly impossible for foul play to take place on that beach. Again, I direct your attention to the gathering of boats with the boats closely together. Everybody's drinking, nobody's paying attention. Like, I can't tell what's going on between the boats at a distance. I don't know. I don't know what's happening in the water. I don't know. That
I can tell you
said,
this.
I agree. I don't think anything
Yes.
happened out in the plain view on the beach. But there
Yes.
are other
And-
alternatives.
I want to add, though, we have a difference of opinion. When I see that video of the boats in the water there, that also is not a good place to get away with murder. Now, we have been very careful. We have refrained from speculation. We have refrained from guessing, and we're going to continue to do that. However, plain view of that scene, the beach, the boats, the water, that is not a secretive environment. It just isn't.
I agree the beach is not secretive, and I also agree the whole island is not secretive. because there's really nowhere to hide there anyway. Guys, let me move to the boat, the Triton. Has the boat been searched by authorities?
I do not believe that it has been searched by authorities, but it's been available to authorities this entire time. If authorities wanted to come see it, they're more than able to, and have been.
Okay, I find that very interesting, Tyler, and I'll tell you why. In so many cases that I've prosecuted and covered and investigated, you see defendants, targets, trying to get rid of evidence. You see them cleaning the boat. You see them washing it down. You see them trying all sorts of methods to get rid of evidence. It's interesting to me and somewhat probative that your clients have offered the boat up to law enforcement to come and search it. I'm curious, has the boat not just been searched with the naked eye? Has luminol been used on the boat? Has alternative light sources been used on the boat? Has a cadaver dog come to the boat? Has a scent dog come to the boat? To your knowledge, either one of you.
To my knowledge, Nancy, I do not believe that has happened. But again, my 3 clients, either one of them, none of them own that boat. So if it has, you would have to ask the owners.
Tyler, do I look like I just fell off the turnip truck? Maybe I do, because we did sell turnips at the farmer's market when I was growing up. That said, you telling me my clients don't own the boat, so you'd have to ask the owner. Come on. You and Paulsick know if the boat has been searched. You know if cadaver dogs or scent dogs, luminol or alternative light has been used on the boat. Can you just tell me? Yes, no. It's not your client's fault. It's law enforcement's fault if they haven't done it.
If authorities thought that there was something to find on that boat, don't you think this far out they would have already done it?
I would think in the ordinary course of an investigation into potential foul play, I would have gone out there and done it. Just
That's if you believe there was potential foul play.
Just to say, I searched it and it was clean. I didn't find any human blood.
Well, Nancy,
Cadaver
you're
dog
asking a
didn't
valid.
hit.
Hold on, you're asking a valid question. You're just asking the wrong people. That's a question for law enforcement.
To your knowledge, has it been searched? Have you been told by anyone that it was searched?
I don't have
I have
any
not been told
involvement
that,
with the
no.
law enforcement. I don't have any involvement in the investigation.
I'm gonna
We're
take
conducting
that
our
as
own
a no.
investigation. You can take it how you want. We're conducting our own investigation.
Attention homeowners, Nancy Grace here. Scammers are using AI to steal from you. With forged paperwork and just a signature, they can claim control of your property on record. Then they take out loans against that property, or they even sell it for quick cash. Then they can borrow against your equity or even sell your property long before you realize anything's even wrong. And that is where Home Title Lock comes in. 24/7 monitoring, urgent alerts, a team of restoration experts that spend up to $1 million restoring your title if you're a victim. So when is the last time you checked your title? You can do it today and make sure you're not already a victim. Use our promo code Nancy, Nancy, at HomeTitleLock.com to get a free FREE title history report, plus a free trial of the $1 million triple lock protection. That's HomeTitleLock.com, promo code Nancy. Good luck. Joining us tonight, Tyler Cox, the lawyer for several of the young men. Also with us, Edward Paulsick, attorney for the boys as well. Tell me what you can about the CTO call. I've had renowned experts say, this wasn't doctored. I've had renowned experts say, this was totally doctored. Have you heard the original CTO call from Mississippi Department Marine Resources? Have either of you listened to that call? Because I've heard it so many times, I'm now jaded based on what people think they're hearing, based on enhancements. I even had my own producer, who does not have a dog in this fight, no skin in the game, enhance it. But I want to hear what you guys know about the CETO call. My mind is open.
Look, anybody can adjust the gain. Anybody can enhance it or sweeten it. But it doesn't change the fact that just because you put words over some audio means that those words are now attributable to what is on the call. Look, another boy called CETO. We have video that was released of Brandon Tatum. He posted it, and it shows who all was on the boat. At no point in time does this CETO call ever, not once, where you find any sort of mention of Nolan being on the boat, of something happening to Nolan. I cannot state clearly enough, Nolan was not on the boat when it departed around 4:30. Look, the video that you're showing now, does anyone look like, and look, there's the boy that's on the CETO call right there. Does anyone look like there's a body on the boat or something had just happened? Look, Nancy, you were a prosecutor for a long time. None of these boys have a story that is untrue. Don't you think that after all this time, somebody would have snitched? That somebody wouldn't be able to keep their story straight? No. Look, these boys are telling the truth.
Typically, you're absolutely right. That's why I usually don't believe in conspiracies, because nobody can keep their yap shut. Somebody blabs.
And Nancy, now I'll say something about the CETO call. I have heard a lot of versions of the CETO call. And most of them are either completely fake or AI or doctored. And unfortunately, for folks that are doing that, that may become the subject of one or more lawsuits. It appears that there are hundreds of versions of the CETO call all over the internet, everywhere online. So now nobody can keep track of it. But I can tell you that. I can tell you, look at those photos. Nolan Wells is not on that boat.
The photos to me are very convincing. Let's see the photo they're talking about again.
Yes, I'm glad we agree about that. I'm glad we agree.
Do I know what time that was or what day that was? Is there a timestamp? Look, I'm not saying either of you are lying. I'm saying this is how I would test evidence in court. I mean, I take everything with a box of salt. When was that taken? Where was it taken? What time was it taken? Yeah. I'm curious. Is it timestamped?
Hey, Nancy, you've been trying this case for over 30 days. The facts are the facts are the facts. These boys had nothing to do with the death of Nolan Wells.
Okay, listen, when was the timestamp on that video?
Nancy, I'm going to answer it this way.
Yes.
We don't think that you're accusing us of lying. We don't feel that way. We're just simply saying this. And it's okay. You're asking legitimate investigative questions. And we don't fault you for that. But here's what we're saying. It's been over 30 days. There has never been one shred, one iota, one piece, nothing. There is no evidence that ties Warren, Morgan, or Jax to any crime because they did not commit a crime. They had nothing whatsoever to do. Right.
And again, what's timestamp on that video?
But that's not our burden. See, that's the problem. You're putting this burden on us, all right? There's never been one piece of evidence.
You did that to yourself, Paulsick, when you said, here's the boat that day and he's not on it. That may very well be true. That may be absolutely true. And I'm saying, when was the video taken?
Well, no, I'm telling you.
Around 4:30, July 4th.
Yeah. And I'm telling you another thing, Nancy. We have multiple witnesses, and we're going to protect their names on the air here. We're not going to air out a private list of witnesses. We are. We're going to protect them. So I want to emphasize that as well. The witnesses that we're talking about, we're not going to do that to them. We're not going to name them here on the air. We're not doing that.
I'm not asking you to.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like you are.
I'm asking you
But we're
again when the timestamp is on that video. But if you don't know, I'm not saying that that's wrong or right.
Well, I'm not.
I'm saying
Right, no,
I want to
I
know
understand that.
to
I understand that, but
corroborate
that's
that
not.
video.
I understand that, but that's not a relevant question for your present guest since we didn't make the video. But I can tell you this.
Okay, well, you showed me the video, and that's why I'm asking. Okay, let me ask
Well,
you
we
something
didn't.
else.
Yeah, we didn't show you. We didn't
State
show
that
you
your
that. Yeah, go
clients
ahead. Go ahead.
know of witnesses, or you know of witnesses that placed
Yes.
Nolan at Horn Island alive at 6 p.m.
Yes. Yes.
Now,
100%.
all of this aside, all of the, has the boat been searched? Where is Nolan phone? Where are your clients' phone? All that is superseded by the fact that there may be witnesses placing him alive on the island at 6 p.m. And everything else disappears for me if that is true, because I know your clients were gone at 4:30-ish.
Yes.
Have these witnesses been questioned by law enforcement? Do you know?
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
You're sure?
Yes. Yes. And I'll tell you another thing. One other thing. There's a corollary. Nancy, there's a corollary. So there are witnesses who can place Nolan Wells on the island at 6 p.m. There are also witnesses who can confirm that Warren, Morgan, and Jax left the island around 4:30. So both sides are covered. We've got it covered.
Well, for me, it's not that simple because I still don't know what happened to Nolan Wells. However,
Neither do we.
I believe that the GPS, which really cannot be controverted, shows when the Triton left, witness or no witness. I've got that. Now, who's on the boat? I believe that video is going to tell me who's on the boat. But all that, the overarching issue is, was he alive at 6 p.m.? This is where I'm going.
Right. And Nancy,
I don't
can I say
care
Nancy, one
who
thing.
was with him last. I don't care if it exonerates or convicts
course.
anybody. I just want to know the truth.
And it's good to ask,
Sir?
and I want to say this, it's good to ask tough questions. These are all valid questions. But what we're trying to do for you is simplify it. 4:30 and 6 p.m. End of story.
I want to believe you. I want to believe you, Ed. But just because somebody says so, don't make it so. And I'm trying to prove it. That your clients were gone and that Nolan, more importantly, in my mind, was still alive. If that's true, your clients are in the clear. As far as I'm
Nancy,
We
concerned.
are in the clear.
And the CETO call and everything else falls away if I can place him alive at 6 p.m. And the people that want to hang your clients, I can't help their unrequited anger.
Yes.
I don't care. Because somebody, in my mind, was the last person to see Nolan Wells alive, whether it's your clients or somebody else, and I want to find that person that saw this. You say 6 o'clock? Who are they? Make yourselves known. Put us all out of our misery. Help me find out what happened to Nolan.
Yes.
Nancy, can I
want
ask
you
you
to
this?
understand. I'm just trying to find out. Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Why in the world would these witnesses make themselves public after you've seen more than 30 days of death threats, in-person threats, credible threats, people making threats and getting arrested, all geared towards these boys and others? Why would they become public? Why would they
here's
come
one
out
answer.
public?
One answer is they're telling the truth and they want to put it out there. Another possibility
the truth to
is
investigators.
everybody already knew who they were, so they went out on Tatum to exonerate themselves. I mean, that could go either way. But I see what you're saying. I get it.
And Nancy,
I still don't know.
Nancy,
have you ever
Yes.
seen any other people accused of the crimes that online internet trolls have accused these boys of go and do podcasts, do interviews, have their attorneys go and advocate for them like this on on a national platform like this, if we weren't 100% sure and they weren't 100% sure that nothing they did was in connection to Nolan Wells' death. They left the island at 4:30. He was spotted on the island after that at 6, alive and well. That's it. End of story. Do you think these are actions of three boys who, one, keep their story straight, two, don't snitch on each other, and three, have made and had to have made to defend themselves multiple media appearances and have their attorneys do the same? Are those the actions of someone who is guilty? No.
Typically, no, I agree with you, but there are cases where killers go out in the front of it and make all sorts of pleas. Please bring my wife home. Please bring my little
But
babies
Nancy,
home.
we
So
don't-
yes,
let me
I
give
have
you a
seen
really-
that. I
wants
know
to
that's
do
not
that.
what you
We
want to
had
hear,
to.
but yes, I have seen it.
Right, and Nancy,
Me
and
neither.
Nancy, let me give you a really important point here. And by the way, I appreciate some of the things you're saying, and let me just say this. This might be the most important thing. Look, we have a lot of humility. Warren, Morgan, and Jax have a lot of humility. One of the things that we knew when we were going to come on with you is we know you're going to ask us tough questions. We know you're going to ask us tough questions, and we're happy to answer them as best we can. But one thing we've been very consistent about, there are so many things we don't know, right? We won't be able to answer all of your tough questions. And the reason we can't is because we just don't know the answer to a lot of them. But we do know what we know. We know they were off that island at 4:30. We know Nolan was on the island at 6. We just want to emphasize our humility in that regard because we just don't know and we would love to know. We want to know how this tragedy happened as much as anyone, more than anyone.
I want both of you gentlemen to understand something. If I thought I had convicted the wrong person, I couldn't live with myself.
Son.
I personally investigated every case I ever tried and put before a jury. I do not want the wrong person, an innocent person, to suffer claims and allegations, much less go to jail. But I do want the right person, if there is a right person.
Right. If there is.
Which leads me to, I want to believe you and I want to believe your clients. But for me, everything is what can I prove? What can I prove? They say so, so what? Prove it to me. Let me ask you this. Do you know where Nolan's phone is? Anybody? Can
Today?
anybody tell me where Nolan's phone is?
Good
Right
question.
now, as we sit here today,
Has it ever been turned over to authorities?
no, it has not.
You're sure?
Yeah, I believe that Ben Crump, using local counsel, sent a letter out just last night, gave it to Don Lemon on his show, and Don Lemon on his show confirmed that they have not given the phone to investigators.
Well, that's on investigators because they need to get the phone and they need to look at it.
How are they going to get it if they don't give it to them?
Warrant? Subpoena Dukas
Based
Teakum?
on
Grand
what?
jury subpoena Dukas Teakum?
Sure, but it hasn't been to the
No
grand
one's
jury
phone?
yet. Hasn't been to the grand jury
There
yet.
is. Are you telling me you don't think a grand jury is convening on this?
I think they are. I don't think they have looked at
Well,
the
you
case
said, how do you
yet.
get the phone? You obviously get the phone. Police go say, hey, can we look at the phone? And they go, sure, here it is. That's one way.
Well,
Or you're
what if they don't give it to
investigating a
them?
potential crime. You get a warrant and you go, hey, give me the phone. Here's the warrant. That's two ways. Or you get a grand jury or a judge's order. There's all sorts of ways to get that phone.
Well, Nancy,
You could just
Nancy,
ask and they hand it over.
Yeah, Nancy,
Why didn't they give it to
why
him?
has the yeah, Nancy, why? Yeah, why is that phone hasn't been turned over? Why? Why?
I
Why
guess
would
it
the
hasn't
DA's
been
office
asked
need to
for,
get a warrant?
But I think it should be, and I think it should be asked for. Look, I am not stirring the Nolan Wells phone pot with you. I got bigger fish to fry with you two gentlemen. I'm just curious. I mean, wouldn't that put a lot to bed if we could look at the phone and look at the GPS tracker on it, look at the route? I mean, look, I
Yeah,
know
we
where my
want more
twins are right
evidence.
now because they got Live 360. Yay. Why
Nancy, we
can't we
want
look at
more.
that? I mean,
Nancy, we want more evidence. Let's get it all. That's the thing. That's the beauty of it. When you're telling the truth and you're representing three innocent young men, the beauty of it is you want more evidence.
We gave our phones up. We let them do a
Yeah.
phone dump of our phones.
which I find very, very interesting. Because a phone dump, everybody shows where the phone's been, what time it was there. It's not hard to do. It pings off phone cell towers, and you can
Yep.
tell as it progresses along. Not hard, easy. And I find that
Every
probative because it will tell me when the boys went to Horn Island, the young men, and when they returned. It's better than an eyewitness to me. Tyler, what else do you have to add?
Nancy, we have told you, we've told everyone we could, we've shouted it from the rooftops. The same story over and over again. There's no other way to say it. It's like banging our heads against the wall because nobody, at least in the online atmosphere, will listen to it. We've said the same thing over and over and over again. We can't say it any other different way. That's the truth. The truth is what it is.
Hi guys, Nancy Grace here. If you are a homeowner, you've probably thought, should I call American Financing to refinance and pay off this debt? But you don't because of your low mortgage rate. That low rate, it's not saving you if you're drowning in credit card interest. People are calling American Financing, and American Financing is saving customers an average of $800. That's not in all, that's a month, by using their equity to pay off the credit card debt. Using their home equity to pay off credit card debt. No upfront fees. It costs you nothing to find out what you could be saving. And if you start today, you may be able to delay 2 mortgage payments. American Financing, 866-888-0344. Repeat, 866-888-0344. Or just go online to americanfinancing.net/Nancy. Disclaimer, NMLS 182334, NMLSconsumeraccess.org, APR for rates in the 5S start at 6.327% for well-qualified borrowers. Call 866-888-0344 for details about credit costs and terms. Go to http:// www.americanfinancing.net/Nancy. Average savings are based on borrowers who save over $199.99. And good luck. I truly believe that submitting to polygraphs or having the boat searched by law enforcement with scent dogs and cadaver dogs and luminol would go a long way to stopping the speculation. But again, all that aside, if I could speak to or hear from those witnesses placing Nolan alive at 6 after your clients had left the island, I feel that the investigation would take a different turn. In any event, we do not want to pile on any individuals suffering if they are in fact innocent. That's not what I want. I want the truth, as I believe you do too.
Well, of course I do. I'll be happy to reach out to them and at least ask them. Best I can do.
That said, gentlemen, I appreciate you coming on with us, and I invite you back to answer even more questions.
Thank you, Nancy.
Cox and Pulsick have been in court today throughout the day on another matter and have joined us here. and answered a lot of questions and didn't answer a lot of questions they say they don't know the answer to. And they could very well be telling the truth. So when will we know the truth? And my burning question at this hour is, if those witnesses are telling the truth, that Nolan Wells was alive at 6 p.m., how did he die? Who was the last person with him? And why, tonight, 1 month later, do we not know the truth of what happened to Nolan Wells? If you know or think you know anything regarding this case, and I implore the FBI to enter the investigation, dial 228-769-3063. Repeat, 228-769-3063. There is a $125,000 reward for information leading to the truth of what happened to Nolan Wells. I also implore you, please, we can take the trolling online, don't care, but the death threats, no. To anybody, let the law unfold as it should. We remember an American hero, Chief William Rosen, Neptune Township, EMS, New Jersey, killed in the line of duty, leaving behind a wife turned widow, Kristen, and an only son, Sebastian. American hero, Chief William Rosen. Thank you to our guests for being with us tonight, and hopefully they will accept my invitation to join me again. But especially to you for being with me tonight and every night here on Crime Stories as we seek to further the investigation into the death of Nolan Wells. Nancy Grace signing off for tonight, but God willing, I'll see you tomorrow night, and until then, good night, friend. Hi, guys. Please join us on our mission to find missing people, especially children, to solve unsolved homicides. And if you're on the go, please join us on your favorite podcast app where you can get all our content, where we, in our way, seek justice.
Was a vital clue buried beneath the CETO recording, or were listeners hearing meaning created by noise, enhancement, and expectation? As the emergency call was replayed, one fact carried greater weight. When the boat reached the mainland, Nolan Xavier Wells was already missing. This documentary examines an unexplained death, reported threats, and evidence that remains disputed. Viewer discretion is advised. Welcome to True Crime News Report. Subscribe, like, share, comment respectfully, and tell us where you are watching from. Here, allegations will never outrun evidence. Every conclusion must survive careful scrutiny. Nolan was 18 years old. His parents, Christine Wells Wansley and Elmore Wansley Sr., expected him home after the July 4th trip to Horn Island with people including Trayston Shepard, Warren Hudson, and Javon Williams. But Nolan did not return aboard the vessel linked to his group. Warren said another ride had been arranged. Katie McCormack reportedly believed Nolan had already left. His phone reached the mainland without him. Christine later reported him missing, and Nolan was recovered near Horn Island on July 6th. Sheriff John Ledbetter investigated, while Coroner Bruce Lind confirmed his identity. Homicide had not been officially established. During the return journey, the vessel began taking on water, prompting a call for assistance. Bart Edmiston Jr. reportedly helped the distressed boat. Accounts described a problem involving the transom plug, a fitting that allows water to drain from the rear of a boat when handled. Bart Edmiston Sr. and attorney Russell Latino later addressed accusations directed at Bart Jr., who reportedly cooperated with investigators and supplied relevant material. He had not been publicly named as a suspect. His documented role concerns the emergency response. The call may explain the boat's difficulty, but it cannot independently establish Nolan's final movements. The confirmed portion of the CETO recording is straightforward. A caller reported that a boat was taking on water and requested help. The controversy lies in disputed background voices. No interpretation is authenticated. Forensic audio expert Jennifer Owen warned that reliable examination requires the original, least compressed file. Engines, wind, distance, overlapping speech, digital compression, repeated enhancement, and listener expectation can reshape what seems audible. Attorney Ben Crump announced that Nolan's family had obtained the complete recording and requested professional analysis. Clarification should reveal information already present. Alteration introduces sounds or emphasis not supported by the source. Any enhanced version must therefore be compared with the original recording. The audio drew public attention, but another completed report remained outside public view. Warren Hudson maintained that Nolan planned to leave with another ride. Katie McCormack reportedly understood that Nolan had already departed. Trayston Shepard said the voice in the confrontation video belonged to him, not Nolan. Javon Williams saw Nolan on the island and said phones were left aboard a boat. Christine and Elmore said Nolan would not remain without dependable transportation. None of these differences alone proves dishonesty. The question is, which account matches authenticated timestamps and communications? The Mississippi State Medical Examiner's Office completed its examination of Nolan, but the autopsy reportedly remained confidential while investigators continued working. Completion means the report may be finished. It does not mean the findings have been released to Nolan's family or the public. Authorities said the investigation was expected to go before a grand jury, which reviews evidence and considers possible charges. It is not a trial, and its involvement does not prove that Nolan's death was a homicide. No unreleased cause or manner should be treated as established. Yet while the authentic report remained restricted, an imitation appeared online. Mississippi Department of Public Safety Commissioner Sean Tyndall said a toxicology document circulating online was fraudulent, as people reported. Authorities warned that artificial intelligence and misinformation can be used to imitate official records. A fabricated report can distort public understanding, harm witnesses, and obstruct the family's pursuit of dependable answers. Screenshots and posts cannot replace an authenticated laboratory report. Any toxicology claim requires verifiable provenance, original agency confirmation, authorized signatures, testing dates, case and laboratory identifiers, and an unbroken record showing where the document originated and who lawfully released it. Nolan's family commissioned forensic pathologist Dr. Roger Mitchell to conduct an independent examination. His finding left the cause and manner of death undetermined. That classification does not confirm homicide, but it does not prevent investigators from examining other contributing factors. Questions remained about the completeness and interpretation of evidence available to Mitchell. Environmental exposure and the passage of time could restrict what forensic science can establish. A stronger assessment requires genuine toxicology results, complete medical records, analysis of water and environmental conditions, official autopsy documentation, and a reliable account of Nolan's final movements. Preliminary observations must not become final conclusions. Christine Wells Wansley pursued legal access to technology and social media records that could clarify the timeline. Investigators must reconcile Nolan's phone activity and location history with relevant witnesses' records, original photographs and videos, vessel GPS data, sea tow communications, marine traffic records, messages, and lawfully recoverable deleted content. Metadata can indicate when and where an original file was created, although it must also be authenticated. GPS may place a vessel at a location, but it cannot identify everyone aboard or reveal what passengers knew. Reports that footage shows Nolan absent from the distressed boat must be tested against original source files. Edited compilations, reposts, and AI-generated media are not reliable substitutes. Reports indicate that some individuals participated in voice stress examinations. Voice stress analysis studies vocal patterns. A conventional polygraph records physiological responses during questioning. Neither independently determines guilt or innocence. Stress, question wording, interview conditions, recording quality, software settings, and examiner interpretation can influence results. These tests should be treated as investigative leads, not courtroom proof. Authenticated messages, reliable timestamps, vessel GPS, forensic findings, original recordings, and witness accounts supported by independent evidence carry greater value when investigators reconstruct Nolan's final hours. Attorney Ben Crump represents Nolan's family. Reverend Al Sharpton and the NOP called for transparency and a complete investigation. Tyler Perry reportedly covered funeral expenses, while Colin Kaepernick reportedly funded the independent examination. Public figures supported a reward, but verified terms and conditions govern any claim. The family and its advocates raised concerns about racial bias. Those concerns are not proven findings. Attention now turns toward the anticipated grand jury review. Unresolved evidence created a vacuum, and competing narratives filled it. Public questions about timelines, recordings, and official findings remain legitimate. Harassment, invented documents, threats, and unsupported accusations do not. Michelle Francine Edwards and Joseph Alfredo Vasquez Dumartz were reportedly charged in separate cases involving alleged threats. Edwards allegedly targeted Mississippi government offices. Dumartz allegedly targeted a judge connected through family to the boat trip. Other threats were reportedly directed toward officials, Nolan's family, witnesses, and associated individuals. These charges do not establish what happened to Nolan. Intimidation can silence witnesses, consume investigative resources, and weaken public confidence in legitimate findings. Bart Edmiston Jr.'s documented role remained limited to reportedly helping the distressed boat. Bart Edmiston Sr. and attorney Russell Latino responded to online accusations with a reported cease and desist action. Their objections addressed allegedly edited recordings, threatening messages, unsupported labels, and misinformation presented as fact. Repetition cannot convert an allegation into evidence. Nolan's family has every right to demand answers, while uncharged individuals retain the right to fairness. Social media can raise questions, but it cannot lawfully or reliably convict anyone. If prosecutors present the case to a grand jury, jurors could examine witness testimony, forensic findings, digital records, audio evidence, and investigative reports. The evidentiary record may include work from the Jackson County Sheriff's Department, Mississippi Department of Marine Resources, Mississippi State Medical Examiner's Office, Coroner Bruce Lind, Sheriff John Ledbetter and his investigators, CETO, and the family's legal and independent forensic team. Grand jury proceedings are generally confidential. Unless the legal process advances, there is no courtroom verdict, no sentencing, and no proven homicide, only evidence awaiting careful formal evaluation. The decisive gaps are clear: official cause and manner conclusions, authenticated toxicology findings, professional examination of the original CETO audio, complete phone and social media records, original photographs, videos, and metadata, additional first-hand witness interviews, and one unified timeline comparing Nolan's last confirmed sighting with every relevant vessel's movement. Investigators should classify every point as confirmed, reported, disputed, or unresolved. The strongest conclusion cannot depend on one recording, witness, or document. It must carefully explain the physical, digital, medical, environmental, and testimonial evidence together, without forcing uncertain facts into a preferred narrative. One fact remains: Nolan went to Horn Island, but did not return with his original group. His final movements and medical explanation remain unresolved. His family deserves an account supported by evidence. Witnesses and named individuals must not be treated as guilty without proof. Can authenticated audio, GPS, phone, video, forensic, and witness evidence establish what happened after Nolan was reliably seen? Subscribe to True Crime News Report and activate notifications for verified updates. Comment respectfully on evidence investigators should prioritize. Then share this documentary so factual reporting travels farther than misinformation.